Hello, everyone. I am Matt Williamson. How's everyone doing this fine day? I have my second viewing of the Steeler game already in the books here, so I'm ready to give you my reactions, and a lot more good than you might have expected, to be honest with you. So let's dig right in. I'm going to start with doing snap counts. This might be a little boring for you, but I'm going to buzz through them fast, so rewind if you missed something. There were 59 offensive snaps. Kyle Allen, Broderick Jones, and Spencer Anderson led the team, playing 42 of them. Zach Frazier played 39, more on him later. Mason McCormick, 33. Fatanu had 25. Austin, 23. Darnell Washington and Dez Fitzpatrick, 18. I think that's notable on Fitzpatrick. Then we started getting to these guys, Joey Fisher, Justin Fields, Devery Hamilton, Ryan McCollum, Scott Miller, Dylan Cook, Connor Hayward, Quez Watkins, Michael Pruitt, George Pickens, Van Jefferson, Aaron Shampkin. They were all between 14 and 17. Matt Sokol, Pat Freiermuth, Jerry Jenkins, they were at 12. Anderson Hardy, Deuce Watts, Tyler Beach at 11. Rodney Williams, Jonathan Ward, Jacob Copeland at 10. I'm kind of shocked Ward only played 10. And everyone else on the team was under that. So what I think was clear, though, is Jefferson was used clearly as the wide receiver, too. Him and Pickens each played 15 snaps, and they both were early. But how about this? I saw this on Pro Football Focus this morning. Freiermuth played a dozen snaps, as we said, but 0 when they had 2 tight ends on the field. Only 2, not 1 or 3. When 2 tight end sets, he was out there 0 times. Just something to keep an eye on going forward. I assume that won't keep up. BetOnline's your number one source for all your summer sports this season, from Major League Baseball, golf, and many more. All the latest stats, news, and scores available to follow your favorite teams. Get the latest odds and lines, including the latest team matchups, player props, and odds on just about every sport out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Defensive snap totals. There were 62 total snaps. Peyton Wilson led the way at 44. Coach likes to grind these dudes, these young rookies, like I mentioned yesterday. Anthony Averett played 41. Julius Welshoff played 40. And 38 for Kyron Johnson. More on him later, too. 33 snaps for Mark Robinson, Miles Killebrew, Kalen Barnes, Ryan Watts. Lamarvin Leal played 30. Loudermilk played 29. Moon and Beanie Bishop played 20. Logan Lee at 17. Montravis Adams at 16. Willington Prevalon at 14. And then all these guys played 11. Alandon Roberts, Matakevich, Cam Sutton, KZ, Elliott, Slade, Trice, Rush, Windeman, Porter Jr., Herbig. Ogunjobi, Elliott played 10. Everyone else was under that. Okay. So rewind that if you want to buzz through it. I didn't want to spend too much time on that because I have some other things here. So Stroud played 6 snaps. Nico Collins, Diggs, and Dell combined to play just 16 snaps, and none of them played more than the 6 that Stroud played. So think about that defensively. You really didn't deal with that unbelievable 4-player passing game for more than 6 snaps at a time. But this was a deep wide receiver group that they played against. Woods and these guys are pretty matchy. And I thought they gave the Steelers defensive backs trouble. That to me is something to keep an eyebrow up about, at least. Watching Frazier every snap and studying him the second time, I really think when we go back to Latrobe, which will be today, the day you're listening to this, that'll be Sunday, I'll be back there. I'm recording this Saturday night. That he should be really starting to eat into the starter snaps. I thought he was really good in this game, and he did it for a long stretch. And to be honest, me personally, I don't know if it'll happen, but I'm about done with the shuffling. I think you put Jones at left tackle full-time, you put Frazier at center full-time, and just go. I mean, I think there's this misconception that Jones, just because it's his second year, still doesn't have a lot of technique work to do. He really does, and I can't believe it's helped by moving him back and forth. If you just leave him at left tackle and Dan Moore, oh well. You know what I mean? I think it's time to do that now. I mean, we're August 11th when you read this, and the season's right around the corner. I thought Jonathan Ward, who we talked about, I thought he was the top, and I put this in quotes, other running back. Not the top two, not Cordarrelle, but I thought Ward was good. I mean, I think he's the leader in the clubhouse of the other running backs. Good speed, kickoff return. He was also on the punt team. I think that is very important. I always tell you guys, watch who's on the punt team. And if a back like him can do that, that's another feather in his cap to be around. Probably practice squad, of course. The tight ends. I thought Pruitt was really good in the run game. And I thought Washington was a killer. I thought Darnell Washington was as expected at camp, but he took it to the field. He's been really hard to beat as a blocker, run or pass. But I thought Pruitt, who's a different style, he's not as much of a hammer or size, were both really good in the run game. Two defensive players I want to learn more about and I'm intrigued with. And I talked about Jacoby Windman yesterday, Michigan State guy. He can do a little bit of everything as a linebacker in terms of like Steeler outside linebacker in a 3-4 or off the ball. But Kyron Johnson is a guy that kept showing up, and he's smaller, but he was a really good tester. He's explosive. He's fast. They've just been using him off the edge from what I've noticed. But Johnson and Widman are two guys that really have my attention right now. Quez Watkins is a punt returner. I mean, I know that's Austin's job. Maybe this was just, hey, can you do it? No. Really, really bad. I mean, I knew that the first time around. I mentioned that yesterday, but really, really bad. So back to snap counts. Special team snaps are really important. There's not that many of them to divvy out. You don't just hand them out willy-nilly. I say that word very often. But Windman, who I just brought up, led the team with 16 special team snaps. Rush had 14. Peyton Wilson, Fitzpatrick, Moon, Ward, who we just talked about, all had 13. It's promising. Coletto, the fullback, 11. Johnson, who I just talked about, Kyron Johnson, had 10. That's great. Watts, Elliott, Julius Welshoff, and Kalen Barnes all had 9 as well. Again, you don't waste these snaps. These are guys that are on the radar at least. And brings me to Barnes. Barnes played pretty much in this game. He made plays on defense. He's a corner. If you don't know that, I should probably lay that out. Made plays on defense. He saw the field on defense in the first half of the game. 9 special team snaps. Kalen Barnes, name to know. 2 more notes here. Blake Fisher was the Texans' second-round pick, offensive tackle, right tackle at Notre Dame. Joe Alt was on the other side. And he's somebody I looked at a lot going into the draft, knowing the Steelers were certainly in the tackle market. He's not super strong, but I thought he had a chance to play right away at right tackle. Steeler edge guys beat the crap out of him. I mean, he had a really rough, I guess, second preseason NFL experience. Blake Fisher had a tough day. Last thing here and end with is a couple stats. And I don't harp on preseason snaps because there's so many guys in and out. But it might shock you whenever watching that game thinking, boy, the Steelers are getting killed. They kind of were, but by themselves, not by the Texans all that much. So the Texans average for the game 4.2 yards per play. Steelers averaged 6.1. Remember yesterday all the talk I had about the explosives? They were a lot of chunk plays. 6.1 yards every time you snap the ball. You'll take it. And then here's the last one. Yards per drive. So every time you got the ball, how many yards did you produce on average? Houston was at 21.3. Steelers were at 34.8. I mean, that's a whole first down and a half more than the opponent over the course of the game. So that stuff matters. So I thought there was much more positive than negative watching this game a second time. So I wanted to share all that with you. I'm not sure when we'll talk next. Like I said, I'm recording this Saturday night, going to drive to Latrobe in the morning, watch a practice, and go from there. Maybe I'll just do one after practice and see what's the buzz. Still no Ayuk news. As recording this, I know the buzz has really lessened for the Steelers, but I do believe deep down he will be a Niner or a Steeler. So, last thing I had. All right, guys, take care.